have to tell you something funny that happened to me just the other day. It was early in the morning, and I hit McDonald's on the way to work, and I was coming out of the restaurant. You can call McDonald's a restaurant. And a car started to pull into the lot, and it's a narrow lot, parking lot. And so I said, well, I better get out of the way, and I don't want to hold them up. So I started to run across the person wound the window down, and I heard a voice behind me say, "You go, you still got it." I was looking around, I go, it's me, you know. You know you're getting old when you try to jog across the lot and other people are marveling at it, you know. But all the same, I appreciated the compliment, you know, keep trying, that's always important. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms, to all the aunties and godmothers, sisters who are mothers, all of those who have impacted so many children and youth, and those who may be having a difficult time today because your mother may be absent from you, long distance away, or perhaps has returned to the good Lord. Isaiah mentions a mother's love when it talks about the constancy of God's love. Isaiah chapter 49, verse 15 says, "Could a mother forget her children?" Now, this is one of the typical things in the scriptures where you take something, you know, that you go, I'll rely on and say, yes, that'll never happen. And then it says, but even if that could happen, God would never forget you. God would never forget you. Could a mother forget her children? Neither could God forget. There's this little story about a mother, and it was by Stephen Kennard, and I'd like to share it with you on this Mother's Day. Stephen Kennard, who is an evangelical teacher and pastor for over 30 years in the New York City Church of Christ. And it says this, it starts off on the sixth day of creation, right after God created man. And says, when God created mothers. When the good Lord was creating mothers, he was into his sixth day of creation when the angel appeared and said, "You're taking a lot of time on this one." And God said, "Have you read the specs on this order? She has to be completely washable, but not plastic. Have 180 movable parts, all replaceable. Run on black coffee and leftovers. Have a lap that disappears when she stands up. A kiss that can cure anything, from a broken leg to a disappointed love affair. And 6 pairs of hands." The angel shook his head slowly and said, 6 pairs of hands? No way. It's not the hands that are causing me problems, God said. It's the 3 pairs of eyes that mothers have to have. He says, "That's on the standard model?" asked the angel. And God nodded. He says, "Oh, 1 pair that sees through closed doors when she asks, 'What are you kids doing in there?' Which she already knows. Another here in the back of her head that sees what she shouldn't, but what she has to know. And of course, the ones here in front that can look at a child when he goofs up and say, 'I understand, and I love you,' without so much as uttering a word." "God," said the angel, touching his sleeve gently, "get some rest tomorrow." He says, "I can't," said God. "I'm so close to creating something so close to myself. Already I have one who heals herself when she is sick, can feed a family of 6 on 1 pound of hamburger, and can get a 9-year-old to stand under a shower." The angel circled the model of the mother very slowly. "It's too soft." "Soft, yes, but tough," said God excitedly. "You can imagine what this mother can do or endure." Finally, the angel bent over and ran his finger across the cheek. "There's a leak," she pronounced. "I told you you were trying to put too much into this model." "It's not a leak," said the Lord. "It's a tear." The angel said, "What's it for?" "It's for joy, sadness, disappointment, pain, loneliness, and pride." I wasn't waiting for applause, but I appreciate it, like the lady who cheered me on the parking lot. Isn't that amazing how a tear can serve so many purposes? Joy, sadness, disappointment, pain, loneliness, and pride. And on this Mother's Day, we realize moms come in all shapes and sizes and walks of life. It's not just biological that makes you a mom, although that surely does that. But there's something I remember from when I was 26 years old and newly ordained, and my first assignment was St. Philip and James, right on Charles Street, right across from Seton High School. And the church was on 28th Street, but the school was down on 27th Street. And it was attended by 6 sisters of St. Joseph. And being the associate pastor, one of the things that I would do in the course of my duties was to go to the convent chapel at 6:30 in the morning to say Mass for them. And it was a small chapel. Every nun had their own pew. And I began to realize that after Mass, the doorbell would ring, and the sisters would let in a little girl. And I was wondering what was going on, and one told me, says, we're not sure what's happening at home, but we've noticed that she's neglected. They said she comes to school in the same clothes. They're not washed. Sometimes they're dirty. She doesn't have lunch with her. And so when we noticed that, we talked to some people in the parish and who had children and asked for some clothes that we could use for her. And so what would happen, the little girl would show up, go into the convent kitchen, and they would give her a fresh set of clothes, wash the old ones, give her breakfast, make her a lunch. And it amazed me and impressed me that here were these elderly women whose womb never bore a child, and yet God sent them to this little girl to be her mother. It takes all kinds of people to be mothers. And on this Mother's Day, we simply stand in awe of you. Amen.